Welcome to Whispers of Dharma, where stories of karma, compassion, and rebirth are softly told to heal the soul. The clock on Maya's kitchen wall had stopped at 3:17 a.m., the same time every night for 7 months. Incense smoke curled upward from the altar she'd built in her small apartment, carrying whispers of sandalwood into the darkness. The photograph of her sister Arya smiled back at her, edges worn from countless tearful touches. But tonight, something was different. The candle flame flickered without any wind. The prayer beads on the table shifted just slightly, as if touched by invisible fingers. Do you believe that karma can reach across the veil of death to finish what the living could not?
Maya lived in the kind of neighborhood where rain never seemed to stop falling. Gray buildings with peeling paint lined streets that forgot how to dry. She had chosen this place deliberately, somewhere forgiveness could grow in the shadows, where compassion didn't need to explain itself. The sound of water dripping from her fire escape had become her meditation bell. Each drop, a reminder of promises unkept. Each puddle reflecting streetlights, a mirror of the guilt she carried. For months, Maya had been preparing for something she couldn't name, learning about Buddhist wisdom, studying the endless cycle of rebirth, trying to understand how karma weaves through lifetimes like golden thread through darkness. Her sister Arya had died believing Maya had betrayed her trust. And Maya had spent every day since wondering if healing was possible when the one you wronged could no longer hear your apology.
They had been children when it started. The promises, the secrets, the bond that felt unbreakable. Maya remembered Arya's laugh echoing through their grandmother's garden, how she would whisper, "Sisters forever, no matter what." But life has a way of testing even the strongest vows. Pause. When Arya fell in love with David, she had confided everything to Maya. The late-night phone calls, the dreams of marriage, the vulnerability of a heart fully opened. "Promise me," Arya had whispered, "if anything happens, you'll be there. You'll understand." Maya had promised. But when David came to her, broken and confused, claiming Arya had changed, claiming he needed someone who truly understood him, Maya had listened and listened. And somewhere in those long conversations, forgiveness for his pain had transformed into something deeper, something that felt like betrayal even as it bloomed. The night Arya found them together, rain was falling, just like tonight. Her sister's eyes had held a pain that went beyond heartbreak. It was the shattering of faith itself. "I thought karma protected the innocent," Arya had whispered before walking away. 3 weeks later, she was gone. An accident, they said. But Maya knew better. Some hearts simply stop when betrayal cuts too deep. It started with the dreams. At first, just whispers in languages Maya didn't recognize. Then images of places she'd never been. Temple gardens with lotus ponds, prayer wheels spinning in mountain wind, faces of monks whose eyes held centuries of wisdom. But last week, the dreams changed. Arya appeared, not as Maya remembered her, but older somehow, wearing robes the color of sunrise. Her voice carried the weight of understanding that comes only through profound suffering and profound release. Maya, Dream Arya had said, rebirth isn't punishment, it's opportunity. Find me where I am now. Help me remember. Maya woke with an address burning in her mind. A place she'd never heard of, in a part of the city she'd never visited. But somehow, she knew she had to go. The address led to a small Buddhist temple, tucked between a laundromat and a corner store. Inside, the scent of incense was the same as the smoke that had been following Maya for months. An elderly monk greeted her with knowing eyes. "You're looking for someone," he said. It wasn't a question. "My sister," Maya whispered. She died, but I think she's been trying to reach me." The monk smiled with infinite compassion. "The dead don't reach for us, child. They wait for us to reach for them. Through forgiveness, through understanding the true nature of karma." He led her to a meditation hall where children were learning to chant. And there, among the small faces lifted in prayer, Maya saw eyes she recognized. A little girl, maybe 7 years old, with Arya's smile and Arya's way of tilting her head when concentrating. The child looked up, and their eyes met across the room. In that moment, Maya felt the earth shift beneath her feet. The little girl approached with the confidence of someone who had been waiting. "You're sad about your sister," she said simply, "but she's not angry anymore." Maya's breath caught. How do you know about my sister?" The child's eyes held depths that didn't belong in such a young face. Because forgiveness isn't something we do once. It's something we carry from life to life until we learn to let go completely. She wants you to know that love doesn't die when people do. It just changes shape, like water becoming cloud, becoming rain. Maya knelt down, tears streaming. "I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt her. I loved him, but I loved her more, and I didn't know how to choose." The little girl reached out and touched Maya's cheek. "Karma isn't punishment, sister. It's teaching. And sometimes we have to hurt each other to learn how to heal." But as the child spoke, her eyes began to change. The wisdom faded, replaced by confusion, then fear. I don't understand what I just said," she whispered, backing away. "Who are you? Why am I here?" Maya watched as whatever presence had been speaking through the child retreated, leaving behind a frightened little girl
who just wanted her mother. The monk appeared beside them, his face grave. "She has been having episodes," he explained quietly, "speaking of things she shouldn't know, remembering pieces of lives that aren't hers. Her parents brought her here, seeking answers. The wheel of rebirth turns in mysterious ways. Sometimes souls carry more than they should into new bodies. Sometimes," he looked at Maya knowingly, "they carry the unfinished business of love."
That night, Maya sat in her apartment as the rain finally stopped. The incense had burned down to ash. The candle flame stood perfectly still. For the first time in months, the clock ticked past 3:17 a.m. without stopping. She understood now. Karma wasn't the universe keeping score of right and wrong. It was love learning to express itself perfectly, lifetime after lifetime, mistake after beautiful mistake. Arya had chosen to be reborn, not to escape the pain of betrayal, but to return with enough distance to finally offer the gift Maya needed most. Not forgiveness for what she had done, but permission to forgive herself. The Buddhist wisdom she'd been studying suddenly made sense. Suffering is the teacher. Compassion is the lesson. And healing happens when we stop running from the truth of our own hearts. Maya picked up her phone and called David for the first time since the funeral. He deserved to know that love doesn't have to be perfect to be real. And compassion doesn't have to wait for permission to begin.
3 months later, Maya returned to the temple. The monk smiled when he saw her. "The little girl asks about you sometimes," he said. "She draws pictures of a woman with sad eyes who makes her feel safe." Maya nodded, understanding. "I came to make a donation for her family and to ask, would it be possible for me to volunteer here? Reading to the children, maybe, helping in the garden." The monk's eyes twinkled with ancient wisdom. "Ah," he said, "you understand now. Service is how we transform karma into blessing." As Maya walked into the children's meditation hall, she saw the little girl again. This time, the child simply waved, her eyes clear and present and beautifully, ordinarily young. But as Maya settled in to read a story about kindness, she felt it, the unmistakable presence of her sister, not trapped in the child's body, but free, hovering like a blessing, like forgiveness made manifest, like love that had finally learned to let go. Sometimes the most profound healing happens, not when we're forgiven, but when we discover we always were. If you believe that karma always guides us, please subscribe and leave a reflection so we can awaken together. This is Whispers of Dharma. Every story is a seed of wisdom. See you again in the next whisper.